we've talked about software engineer individuals. Let's now talk about software engineering teams. Now, to understand this, we have to talk about a couple different terms. Software engineering is a term that you're going to find thrown around in business and colleges. Now, sometimes you'll find this as a job title at an organization where they're just looking for a coder, and that's what they give the name or title to their coders. They don't give any thought as to the quality or type of job that they're doing. Other times, you're going to find a different title, maybe software developer or developer. But in reality, you see that you're doing work as a software engineer. So don't let that term throw you if you see it. Look at what the actual job is. Likewise, the term team is used loosely around businesses. And in some companies, teams are very formal entities with team leaders and hierarchies and structures. In other companies, they're very informal and merge and separate based upon the project that they're working on. In some companies, you'll belong to multiple teams, and others, you'll just belong to one. What we want to focus is on the team aspect of a software engineering team. And the term that we might see and use will be one of a jelled team. The idea of a team coming together and acting as one cohesive unit. If team members are working together and are strongly tied to one another, then it will increase their performance and their productivity. The whole becomes greater than the sum of the parts. Now, the book recommends that the team have a sense of purpose and trust in one another, and that's very important to have an effective team. There are various types of team structures, and the structure found in teams often depends upon the management style of the organization that they're found in. For example, you might have a closed paradigm, a traditional hierarchy of structure, if you would. You might have a rendered paradigm, where it's structured loosely and it depends a lot upon self-motivation. This tends to work well in new areas with technology breakthroughs, but not well under normal circumstances. An open paradigm attempts to structure some so it works in normal environments, but it can react better during an innovative time. Synchronous paradigms rely on natural compartmentalization, and often there's little communication between members. This makes it harder to get the improved benefits out of a team because of the lack of communication. If you look at generic agile development teams, they tend to work well in most circumstances, and this is because they encourage competency and group collaboration. If you remember from our previous agile discussions, they tend to be self-organizing. Now, a couple things you might realize when you're working with teams is if the team is spread out over multiple time zones, you're going to have additional issues. Global teams, which are spread out over multiple countries, those team members will have a harder time communicating and feeling like they're part of a single team or process. I worked on a team which had several members in Canada, and even though we were in the same time zone in the US, because of different holidays, work schedules, etc., it was often difficult to schedule joint work and hold meetings. When I worked on a team spread out over multiple time zones, that complexity even grew. Once I worked with a team that part of them were out of England and part of them were in the United States. The United States team had several people in different time zones, and we found out that we only had 1 to 2 hours max per day that we could meet without someone either having to work very early or stay very late. One organization I worked for decided to do some outsourcing of their development to India. Now, not only did the time zone differences make for a lot of challenges, but so did communication styles and cultural differences in how you approach problems. All these items can make for barriers to communication and make it difficult for a team to smoothly gel together. And no tool or technology, not Slack, not Discord, not email or chat or anything else, is going to fix that. The organization which was outsourcing to India spent a lot of time and money sending representatives from each country to the other to help train them on how they worked. They held communication and cultural classes to try to bring the groups together. And in the end, they decided it was best to not outsource the development work, and they canceled that aspect of the project, opting to work with developers that are in the same country within the same 3 or 4 time zones. Even then, most teams were located out of the same office to minimize distance and improve communication, because they found that's what helped make a well-gelled team.